$500, baby, and you can pick my teammate.
Give him the chump.
You mean play basketball?
Yo, what up, Elo? What's up, baby? Just kicking this in 92 for the basketball. Check it out. Swing.
How's everyone doing tonight? This is episode 11 of the Cream Team Podcast. I am your host, Griffin Markwith. With me, as always, is my good friend, Hunter Gonzales. Tonight, we have a free agency special episode. We just wanted to first apologize for kind of being on a brief hiatus. Hunter's been busy with work and moving into a new apartment. I was out of town for the 4th of July weekend, so life, once again, has kind of gotten in the way of our recording, but we're trying to get back on track. So tonight, we're obviously going to talk about Kevin Durant. That's the big thing in the league right now. We're going to give our thoughts on some free agency deals and what teams did well, what teams did poorly. We're going to reintroduce the sour cream segment, and we're going to start a new segment called Dumb NBA Tweets. Once again, we'll probably have to outsource a funny name to Jenny or someone.
I was just about to say, what an original, very creative name for a segment. Dumb NBA Tweets. This sounds like we don't give any thoughts to this.
Yeah,
but
we did.
let's just talk about the elephant in the room. I'm not even going to ask what do you think about Durant going there,
Okay.
because we all know what it means for them. But what do you? Kind of in the same vein as when people went off on LeBron for leaving Cleveland.
Right.
What do you think about him leaving Oklahoma City more than him joining the Warriors? If that makes any sense.
It's different in two ways. One, I think people are more pissed off because LeBron is obviously a Cleveland, specifically Akron native, so it's kind of like him leaving his home. But also, and people know that I'm not a big LeBron fan. I say it constantly, but that guy had no help, and I'll be the first to admit, I don't like him, but I respect his greatness. Yep. And the guy had no help at all. So, and that's just miserable. You can't expect someone to stay in a place, in a career in which they feel like they're not going to be able to succeed to their full potential. So LeBron left. He went to a much better team. He got his rings, and he came back. And obviously, a couple weeks ago, he was finally able to bring a championship to Cleveland. With Durant, he's not from Oklahoma City. He's from Washington, D.C., not the state. So he kind of has that going for him, where he wasn't really leaving his hometown. Although, in that little Players Tribune letter he wrote that it raised him or whatever, it's not actually his hometown. But I think one of the big issues, and first of all, let me just say that I have no issue with Durant leaving at all. I'm a guy that values winning. Yeah, and if you he knew that that's the best place for him to go, and he went and did
Absolutely.
it. Well, we'll talk about this more, and I'll rant a little bit about why certain idiots are upset about him leaving. But I will cede the point that his team was much more talented and had a chance of contending. So that's why I think it's a little bit different than LeBron leaving Cleveland. But that being said, I'm really not mad about him leaving at all. I think he did the right thing for his career, and I think that's always a smart move. What do you have to say?
That's I feel the same way. The money, whatever. He was going to get money wherever he went.
Absolutely. And
the thing that I'm having to say is, and we were talking about this a couple weeks back, and it's kind of coming out today, is the reason that he's leaving. Not only is the Warriors just a better team, they are, but also it's kind of coming to fruition and coming to the light that him and Westbrook were having some problems.
Oh my gosh, you're rehashing this again?
Okay,
because
it's the truth.
But can you clarify and say what the problems were? They're actually really good personal friends, but the issue is that Westbrook is far too ball dominant and is a frustrating guy to play with. Okay, I'm just making sure that people know what we're talking about.
That's the thing that I don't really. He's ball dominant, yes, but I mean, the same could be said about Curry.
Right.
So
But Westbrook's not a good decision maker.
he's not at all. And it could be, do I believe that Curry is a better decision maker than Westbrook? Absolutely. But could it be argued that he's not even the best decision maker? Yes. But that's for a whole different topic.
Right.
I'm not going to hate on him at all because he did what is best for him. And I hate this stupid, all these people saying he's weak. He doesn't,
Yeah.
he doesn't have any backbone. Like, the dude is doing what anybody would do. Nobody is going to just stay on a team that, though they're good, is never going to beat the Warriors as constructed now. And they couldn't have done anything to make the team better. Yeah, Oladipo, yeah, cool, but they also lost Ibaka in the process, and I don't think Oladipo is going to be the reason that they can beat the Warriors or the Spurs. But
and it's funny that they beat the Spurs not easily, but they beat them 4-2, and they frankly should have beaten the Warriors. But what you're saying is still correct. It was almost a fluke, and barring another Curry or Thompson Green injury, that Warriors team is going to be the team to beat. They're the best team in the league. So I just think I agree with you completely. And I wanted to say, you brought up the idea of people calling him weak. And I think it was Dan Le Batard. I could be completely wrong, but I think it was Dan Le Batard that said Durant going to Golden State was literally the only route he could have taken in which people would hate him. So that's the most difficult. I mean, in terms of winning, it's the easiest. In terms of reputation and people's perception of him, that was the most difficult route. So you can't say the guy's weak. He knew what he was getting into. He knew he was going to be hated for this, similar to what LeBron went through, and he still did it because he values winning.
Do you even think he cares? I mean, me personally, I can't speak.
I think he does. Did you read the letter?
I read bits and pieces of it. I know that it was. I mean, leaving anywhere that he started the Thunder. Granted, they were the Supersonics before, but he was the whole reason. Yeah, he was the whole reason that the Thunder, I mean, really you could argue are still around, because it's an extremely small market, and it's a market that, in comparison to Seattle, has no business holding an NBA franchise in its hometown.
I agree.
But he was going to be villainized no matter wherever he went. Had he gone to Boston?
I don't think so. I don't think that he would have, not to this extent, because people, we'll talk about it in our sour cream segment, but not people, morons such as Stephen A. Smith will point to the fact that he's jumping on a bandwagon, quote unquote, and he's going to this already historically good team. Because they're saying, I don't believe this, that he's taking the easy route. So I think if he went to the Celtics and tried to topple LeBron in the East, I don't think he would have been vilified to the same extent. Of course, Oklahoma City fans are going to be mad regardless if he leaves, but you wouldn't see this this outrage. For
the thing
go ahead.
You could argue had he gone to the Celtics, and I was hoping and praying he was going to go there.
You were convinced.
But I also had just the knowledge of, he's probably not going to go there, and that was at peace with that. But you could argue had he gone to Boston, because there's really only, two teams that it really came down. Well, three teams: the Thunder, the Warriors, and the Celtics. I don't believe the Clippers were ever in the mix. I don't believe the Heat were ever in the mix. So had he gone to Boston, you could have argued he'd gone the weak route as well, because he gets away from Curry, and they end up. All he has to do is dethrone LeBron, which the NBA would love in terms of money.
Right.
And then he's right back to Curry. But I don't like this, and I know I've already said this. I don't like the fact that people are villainizing him for it, because he did what was in the best interest of his career, and he did what is going to get him, for what we see and what we believe is going to happen. It's going to get him on the best team to ever be crafted, and a team that's going to win 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 championships, because this team, as constructed now, is amazing.
Not two.
And it's the truth. Yeah. It is the absolute truth.
Barring, Curry's ankles turning into glasses, they have been wont to do. They should be set for the future. But I think that us and other, I consider myself a knowledgeable NBA fan. I know that you are. I think we understand that this was obviously the best and smartest move, and we don't fault the guy at all for it. But for those casual kind of how do I put this nicely, Hunter? Do I just come out and say dumber, or?
I mean, more naive or ignorant, you could say.
There you go. Yeah, the more naive NBA fans. I want you to try to put yourself in this guy's shoes. If you're in a career and you are trying to succeed, you're trying to get to the highest level of your particular job or industry, whatever it is that you do, would you put yourself in that place, no matter what the ramifications are? Like, if people perceive you as taking the easy route, even though it's, misguided, would you still do it? Because I think that he knew he was going to take a hit, and he still did what he thought was best for his career, for himself, and for his future. So I think anyone would do that, and I really think it's kind of nuts how much, we're huge sports fans, but it's just crazy that people put so much emphasis and really despise these athletes for doing what is best for them and for their career and for their family. Like, the guy wants to win. If you're doing something, you want to win. So how can you fault the guy for doing that? I don't get it.
Absolutely, and something that I'm going to touch on, and this is also a Durant. I think it's kind of one of those. Durant was the big domino to fall, and all the other dominoes fell with it. The Warriors have been getting steals. Zaza Pachulia for $2.9 million. Then David West for the veterans minimum, which I think is 1.5. They're in talks, I've read, with Mario Chalmers. They're trying to get Ray Allen there. I mean, this team, it's
unreal.
It really is, and I'm not naive enough to think that they're going to go out and win 73 games again, because they're not. You saw with LeBron and Chris Bosh and D-Wade, it takes time for those guys to gel together and mesh together.
Yeah, and just fatigue from the past 2 seasons for those
absolutely
core guys,
Absolutely, and so the team on paper, and granted, on paper means nothing, but the team as constructed on paper,
it's got to be the best team of all time, right?
Absolutely, and they could conceivably have 5 Western Conference All-Star starters, because if you look, Pachulia, if I'm remembering right, I think he made the All-Star team.
No, he didn't. He barely missed the cut.
He barely missed? He played really, really, really good last year. Do I think he's going to play that good again?
I can't believe you.
No. I'm looking at his stats right now. 9 points a game, 9 rebounds a game.
Yeah, 9 and 9. That's all-star stuff right there. Wow. Gordon Hayward averages 26 and 4.
Hold on.
And
Hear me out. So you're gonna have you would have Cousins, you would have Griffin,
Gasol's back. Gasol's back.
Oh man, talk about the Spurs. They're once again creeping under the
Gasol,
radar.
Right? Yeah, that's see. I don't know. I want to say that's a good pickup for them, and I actually like Gasol, but I'm not sure he fits well. They were one of the best defensive teams of all time last year, and is that a guy that you bring in and thinks ups your defensive potential, your defensive efficacy? I'm not sure.
He's a passer, and we know that's what that entire team is predicated upon, is unselfishness. And I've been reading, and nobody really knows besides him. I've been reading Tim Duncan's leaning towards retirement.
Yeah.
So it's just it. And if he does retire, man, it's going to be sad to see him go, because it's one of those things, in my opinion. I know that we've kind of gone off the trail, but
right.
In regards to,
I'll bring it back in a second.
Duncan, if he leaves, that's going to be one of those. You don't realize what you have until it's gone.
Stockton-esque.
Pretty much. The dude is so good, and I hope he doesn't, but I would assume he probably does, just simply because it goes back to the Warriors thing of that Warriors team is unbeatable.
That's the only reason I'm upset about KD going to the Warriors, is that I was so pumped about the Jazz and their, obviously I didn't have any illusions that they would be winning the championship or the Western Conference this year, but I was
sure you didn't.
No, I really didn't. But honestly, we can talk about this in a sec. I do think that despite it's pretty much a 2-team race right now. But for the title, but I think that the Jazz can still snag the 4th or 5th seed in the West. they've made some great pickups. And are you done talking about Durant, or do you want to segue?
Oh yeah, no, go for it. Just
So
let's go on to the next thing.
We won't talk. We'll do Jazz and Celtics stuff later, but let's do what we came here to do and discuss some free agency moves. So, what moves pop out to you? We can pull them up right now. What moves pop out to you is really good? What moves pop out to you is really bad? So, pretty much to make this easier for us, we can just look at all of Sacramento's moves, and we'll know that those are bad. All of the Lakers and Knicks moves, no, those are bad.
All you have to do, go look. I can't even think right because this was so pathetic. This goes into my sour cream, but this is also this might be one of the worst free agent signings I have ever seen in any sport. How in the world and in what world does Tyler Johnson get 4 years, $56 million?
That's insane. And Johnson can be all right. I mean, he's a combo guard that can score a little bit. But that's a bad signing. That's a bad. And he's also injury prone too, right? Like what do they do? Oh yeah, that's who I should have mentioned in bad signings. Other than my boy Trevor Booker, all of their signings they've been overpaying guys out the yazoo. Let's see.
I'm looking.
That Lynn signing is decent. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Tyler Johnson, 4 years, $50 million. How? I don't get that. Granted, he's not bad, but I mean the money, and I understand that it has to happen. I really do, but the money being thrown around is silly.
Garrett Temple just got $8 million a year. That's insane. And that was Sacramento. All right, so how do you want to do this? Do you want to just go through individual signings, or do you want to do like team?
No, go. We can kind of do. Let's just bounce around.
Yeah,
Who do you think? Let's talk about the big free agent that nobody's signed yet. That I think is using things for leverage, but we'll see. Where do you think D-Wade's going to end up?
My gut says he ends up back with Miami, but I could honestly see. I don't know how they would figure it out. I'm not a cap whiz like Nate Duncan or Danny Leroux or someone like that, but I could possibly see him signing with the Cavs if they could figure it out. And
so here's how they can do that. So right now all they have is the mid-level exception at $3.9 million. And he's just not going to do that. He wants, from what I've read, he's asking for $25 million a year. So they are literally $21 million off.
Wow.
Right here, all you have to do, trade Kevin Love.
Yep.
And that opens up a ton of space. Then get rid of a couple more people who are just merely for just cap reasons. And you could make that happen. Do I seriously believe that he's going to end up in Cleveland? I would probably say about 40% he ends up in Cleveland. 60% says he ends up in Miami. He's not going to the Nuggets. He canceled his meeting with the Bucks.
Oh my gosh, dude! That will we might have to throw one of those tweets into our dumb NBA tweet segment. In what world does Dwayne Wade go to the freaking Bucks? Are you kidding me? Especially considering the fact he's lived in Miami for most of his adult life. He's not going to freaking Milwaukee. Are you kidding me?
Who would go to Milwaukee at all? Period. But
sour cream.
I know, man. I don't. I see him sticking honestly with Miami simply because he's just going to use all this crap as leverage. I agree. I'm looking at it right now. Ryan Anderson. What do you make of that? 4 years,
$80 million with the Rockets. They signed another Pelicans guy, right? Eric Gordon. I think both of those moves are pretty. Let's pull up the Eric Gordon one really quick. Can you do that really quickly while I talk about? Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Anderson was 4 years, $80 million. Gordon was 4 years, $53 million. I think both those moves are bad. I think Eric Gordon is a low-key Jeff Green guy, where he has all the talent in the world, but he just can't put it together. It's obviously for a different reason than Green. Green just hasn't been able to figure out who he is, and Gordon has been hampered by injuries and hamstrung by said injuries. So
isn't it funny that 4 years ago we were talking about him as a max player when he wanted
on the Clippers, right?
Be traded to when he wanted to be traded to Phoenix.
Yeah, and
he came out and outright told them, the Pelicans, not to match that offer, and that he wanted to be a Sun, and of course they matched it.
He was a guy coming out of Indiana that a lot of people thought could be really special. I was never really that high on him, but that dude was pretty darn good. But I just don't think that he's just one of those guys similar to Derrick Rose that has just been hit with too many physical ailments to warrant that type of deal in my mind. And Anderson, I think most people kind of know what that is. Like, that's just overpaying a guy who is going to get paid somewhere, and that's why I don't really. And I hate Houston. I just hate them so much. I'm a Jazz.
I think it's that you hate. I think it's that you hate James Harden.
I do. Well,
I don't think it's Houston.
No, it is. It's both, because as a Jazz fan, I hate Houston. They've been rivals dating back to the Stockton Malone era, and playing against Hakeem and those teams. So I don't like Houston at all, but I really hate that potato of a human, James Harden. Dude, that guy is so unbelievably ugly. Have you seen him without a beard? It's truly disturbing stuff. Like, I don't, I'm no supermodel, but good God, man. But anyway, Anderson was going to get paid somewhere. He's obviously
podcast talking about grown men's looks. I mean, it just fits our name.
That's what people come here to. Yeah, our name is the Cream Team. So, I assume people expected that. But Anderson, look, we know what he is. He's a very offensively skilled stretch four. He's a great offensive player, but he's an absolutely brutal defensive player. I think his real plus minus is about 0, because despite the fact that teams are so good, his teams are so good offensively when he's on the floor, they're just as bad defensively. So unless Houston can figure out a way to hide him on defense or do something, it's not going to be a great signing. And guess what? They're not figuring out how to do that, because they already have to do that with Harden. And D'Antoni's the coach, who obviously is not a defensive-minded coach. So I don't think it's a great signing, but he was going to get paid somewhere. So we were going to be talking about this deal either way. And the Gordon deal, like I said, I don't hate it. And I kind of like Eric Gordon, so I hope that he can bounce back, but I truly don't think that he will. It's almost exactly the same as what I feel about Derrick Rose.
Let's talk about this. Because I agree with you. No, we're going to get to them in just a second. But I agree with everything that you were saying about Anderson. In this space, loving NBA now, he always has a spot. But the thing is Houston is just so terrible defensively. The only defensive player that they have, Trevor Ariza, is always in the trade rumors. So I don't envision.
I mean, they have a couple pieces. Like Beverly is, a pest on the perimeter. Capella could be a good rim protector just because he has a 15-foot wingspan.
Exactly.
They have a couple guys, but we talked about this, I think, in one of our first episodes, second or third episode. That team was put together by a weird, fat little nerd, Daryl Morey, who's never played basketball and doesn't understand.
Man, you sound like Dwight Howard. Are you digging Dwight because he came to Atlanta?
Absolutely not. No. I did sound like a bully there, though.
God, you sound like Dwight Howard. He's never played.
He's right though, because as someone who's played basketball for 15 years now, and as I've said before, I'm no world beater, but I've played the game for a long time. I understand how it works, and chemistry is a huge thing. It's absolutely instrumental. Like I've been on teams before where we were supremely talented compared to our competition, yet we often fell short because we didn't gel together as a group. So you really have to take guys' personalities into account. And on the opposite end of that, I've been on teams where we were outmatched by far, but due to the fact that we all played with each other and knew how each other played and meshed well together and fought, we were able to beat teams that were much better than us. So you have to take that stuff into account. It's not 2K, it's not my GM. You can't just put together a bunch of, I guess,
spare
just pieces.
Parts and they work together.
Exactly, spare parts. These are people, you know? They're not characters. They're not video game characters that you're just tossing in a system. So I genuinely don't think Morey took that into account, and we'll see how they do next year. I hope they do terrible, and I hope they don't win a single game because I hate James Harden.
So let's, and I'll talk about this, and then we can kind of segue into team stuff, because the other few things that I want to talk to really are team wise. How do you feel about your Jazz trading Trey Burke for a third grader?
For a third grader?
That 2021. That is literally what it is.
Oh, was it 2021?
Or no?
Are you sure?
I think it was 2021. Yes. I saw. I think it was
wild.
a tweet that it came out to a third grader. He was traded for a third grader.
We talked about this off air a little bit. I'm not thrilled by the signing. It's just it was a miss. I never liked the Burke pick, but they took him. He was National Player of the Year. He had an incredible March Madness. And we've talked about this before, how those the small sample size, those performances really mess.
Yep.
Draft picks up a lot. And so, I mean, it stinks. They swung and they missed, and so now they're dumping him. And I think he'll be better. I think he'll be a serviceable backup point guard on another team. I think this happens a lot with top 10 talent. You saw it in Cantor. He's blossomed in Oklahoma City. You've seen it in Waiters. He is by no means great on the Thunder, but he's much better. He was much better on the Thunder than he was on the Cavs. You see these. We'll see it with Oladipo. You see these top 10 talent guys get recycled to their second team, and they perform much better. I think just because there's less expectations and less pressure on them. So I think he'll be all right. Obviously, getting a second rounder is pretty much meaningless. They're probably
unless you're the Spurs.
Unless you're the Spurs, which we'll talk about in a second with Dad's other move. I would have liked to get a first, but I knew that was unrealistic. So it is what it is. Well, are there any, let's really briefly, are there any other deals? Do you want to talk about the Knicks or anything? Like, we got to talk about some of these insane contracts that are going around.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to say about the Knicks, and I'm going to keep it pretty short. And it's kind of a I'm not really choosing a side, so it's kind of difficult.
Okay.
But on one hand, you have to applaud Phil for what he's done. You have to. He's trying to create. You have to.
It's like a law or something.
Well, I mean, you just. How do I say? Yeah, you have to applaud. Yeah, shoot. So on one hand, you have to do that, yes, and then because on paper he has created a really good 2K team and a really good 2012 team, but
and Phil's is a big 2K guy, so.
But on the other hand, it's like, my man, what are you doing?
You know what it is? I think it ties directly to what we just said about Morey. I don't think, and it's weird because people view Phil as the Zen master and stuff, and he can handle all these personalities. But is anyone under the delusional enough to think that team's going to mesh well together? I mean, you have two ball stoppers in Derrick Rose and Carmelo Anthony. You have a broken Joakim Noah. You have a possible star in Porzingis who you're halting the development of because you're putting the ball in other guys' hands. You have Brandon Jennings, who is coming off an Achilles tear and is not the player that he once was. You have Courtney Lee, which could be a decent addition, but I
think he's going to be good.
Right. Courtney Lee, I think, is the only one.
Every team he goes to is better.
I agree. I'm a big Courtney Lee fan, but you're right. Those other guys, Noah, Rose, Anthony, who was obviously already there, and Jennings. I don't get it. Do people not realize it's 2016? It's not 2010. This is not the Joakim Noah and Derrick Rose of old. This is not the Brandon Jennings of old. This is not the Carmelo Anthony of old. It seems like they're trying to instill a win-now team because I know that city and that team wants to make the playoffs so bad. But rebuild the right way. You got Porzingis, who's frankly a generational talent. You don't see 7-1 guys, with huge wingspans that can stretch the floor and play make and defend like he can. You just don't. So build around him. Trade Melo for pieces. definitely what I would have done, but they went the opposite route. So I disagree. I will break the law and not applaud Phil for trying, because you can try all you want, but if you can't do it the right way, then what's the point?
I'm gonna have to disagree, but also agree. So the thing is,
Okay, wow. Let's see how you do this one.
Is even like the Knicks aren't going to do anything. Like, I agree with that perspective, but it's not because their team isn't good. It's just the fact that they're not going to beat the Cavs. Nobody in the East is going to beat the Cavs.
I don't even think they're going to be the 4th or 5th seed. I don't think that team is good.
I think if they can. Okay, so Rose and Noah know how to play together. Courtney Lee fits wherever he goes.
Yeah, he's
Carmelo.
Yeah, because Carmelo's always dealt well with other stars. Coming.
He hasn't. So,
Exactly.
so I think my thing is if they can, and I'm not even talking about catching lightning in a bottle, going back to what they were, because players, I don't care who you are, you don't go back to what you were when you're old and when you're injured. You just don't. But I'm not gonna say that they won't be decent. I mean, I think they could get a top 5 seed in the East, not because they're a top 5 team, but instead because the East was okay last year. You could say that it got a little bit better. But I mean, on paper, I can't think of 5 teams that are better than them in the East. I just can't. So
Derrick Rose is the most inefficient. One of the top 3 most inefficient players in the league. Noah is a shell of himself. Carmelo Anthony is a cancer. Courtney Lee's good. Porzingis is good. Jennings, again, shell of himself. How is this team improved? Like, how are they? Okay, like people.
Okay, so is Derrick Rose better than Langston Galloway?
Yes. The name? No, hold on. The name, of course. Look at the numbers. He might put up.
Go look at Derrick, and I was right. I was in the same. I was in the same thought process as you, and then I saw something, I think it was last week, that showed what Derrick Rose's numbers were after the All-Star break last year.
Okay, so he had
one.
Hold on. He had one good stretch of games over the past 5 seasons, and now you're gonna throw him back in All-Star mix?
No, not at all, But I don't.
Of course, he's more talented and has higher upside than Langston Galloway, but at this point in his career,
so there's that answer. So is Courtney Lee better than Aaron Flalo?
Yes.
Okay, so there's 2. Carmelo is Carmelo. Porzingis is Porzingis. Is Joakim Noah better than Robin Lopez?
No, not at this point. I don't think so.
Really?
No, I really don't. And I honestly, I used to hate him when he was at Florida, but I started liking Noah when he was on the Bulls.
I can't stand Joakim Noah.
I just like
everything that he did to the Celtics. No,
right.
His energy, man. You must like Kevin Garnett then too.
No, I hate.
I mean, I love him, but he is Kevin Garnett of this generation.
No, Kevin Garnett's mean.
Kevin Garnett's mean. Okay,
mean.
guys, just so y'all know, Griffin is 13. Just want to put that out. Kevin Garnett is mean. Oh my goodness! But with that being said, because I know y'all are tired of hearing us just go around in circles, Griffin, give me your thoughts. Let's kind of let's translate it over, or transition. Not translate. We're not speaking Spanish. Let's transition it over to.
We can if you want.
Teams. Un poquito. Let's transition over into the team, and then we'll wrap it up. Tell me, what do you think about all these Jazz moves, getting Joe Johnson, trading for Boris Diaw, going out, and of course we talked about it already, getting George Hill. They lost Trevor Booker, but what do you think about it all?
Are you skipping the sour cream? Is that what you're doing? Or are you waiting?
You already mentioned it. I know we're kind of cutting it close on time. It's at 35 minutes right now. But...
I don't care. Let me get it really quickly because I know why you tried to skip it, because one of my sour creams is with you.
Sour cream?
Yeah, that's right, folks. One of my sour creams is with Hunter because he's a bad podcast co-host. Multiple occasions.
Griffin's 13, y'all. Griffin's 13.
Okay, I'm a 13-year-old with a child, and I still try to make the time to record despite being out of town, yet this bum either falls asleep or says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm watching a movie," and then doesn't even watch the movie. So, my sour cream is with you. You're a bad podcast co-host. You made me lug my freaking brick of a laptop through the airport when I'm trying to deal with a 1.5-year-old, which was brutal. I have backpack strap marks permanently branded on my shoulders now, so that's on you. You can pay to get those lifted off with lasers or whatever. And you just suck. So that's my beef. Yeah, you also, tonight, he said, hurry up, we need to record. And so I get ready, and then this dummy doesn't open his laptop for another 30 minutes because he's too busy eating the peanut butter sandwich. You stupid dummy.
You can't rush greatness, and I have to be fueled up for this amazing podcast, y'all. So, I'm not going to say that.
Then he sent me a picture of a sandwich, and it looked like it was like wet cat food or something that he was eating.
That sandwich was good. I was eating it when we came on here. That sandwich was good. All
right, it's on the record. Hunter eats wet cat food sandwiches and claims that they're good. So
they're good.
We'll move on to I guess I already did talk about it a little bit. You're right, but my other one is just Stephen A. being once again a certified moron. And we know what he is, and it's almost my own fault because I know what this dude is doing. I know he's trying to, just get views and hits and clickbait type stuff, but it still just pisses me off to no end just because he's so off base and so wrong. And I think the part that pisses me off the most about this dude is that he tries to use like big words and uses them improperly so often. Like he's a guy that will open up the dictionary and see just a really long word and try to throw it in the middle of a sentence when it has no place. Like he's an idiot. Please get him off the air, despite the fact that I know I presume that he makes ESPN a lot of money. I don't know why else they would have him on. But that's my sour cream. Do you need to have one? So what are your sour creams?
Well, no, I was already talking about it with Tyler Johnson and just kind of the
flux of ridiculous contracts.
Yeah, and I understand why they're there. I do, because when you have to spend, when the floor is $84 million, that's like $11 million over what the cap was last year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
When you have, I know, when you have to do that, that's just, you're gonna have those overpays. You're gonna have Mozgov getting 4 years at $62 million. You're just gonna have that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just overkill. It really is. Making Mike Conley the highest paid player in league history. Give me a break.
Not overrated anymore, huh? Now it's Gordon Hayward. I'll make that argument next episode. We're going to do a special about how Gordon Hayward is the most underrated player in the league.
Absolutely. He's
wow. I was not expecting such an affirmative response. Thank you.
No, because I mean, 98.9% of it. Yeah, I said 98.9, not 99. 98.9% of it is the fact that he's playing in Utah.
And the other 1.2% is that he's white. Let's just be honest. We're the Cream Team podcast.
Absolutely. And you look at it, and it's kind of sad that I could go and I could poll 100 people, just random people walking down the street who maybe follow basketball, maybe don't. 95 of them would not be able to tell me a single player on the Jazz. And if they did, it would not be Hayward. It would probably be Gobert.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
And so that's kind of sad, but we can touch on that next episode. But I'm gonna talk.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna talk about the Celtics, and then I'll let you talk about the Jazz and wrap it up.
And now introducing the Boston Celtics.
5 seconds left. Boston only has a 1-point lead.
Greer's putting the ball on a play. He gets it out deep, and Havlicek steals it. Over the stand throws. Havlicek stole the ball. It's all over. It's all over.
But
you got it.
The Celtics. I'm happy about the Al Horford signing. I don't think it puts us over the top. I think the thing is, there's a couple things twofold. The Cavs are still the team to beat, and I don't see them being beat. I don't think Al Horford makes us better than them by any means. And two, the Celtics still need a number one player. Isaiah Thomas is not that player. And I'm not getting down on anything. I'm happy that we went out and got Horford. We're going to re-sign Johnson. We're going to re-sign your.
I'm going to have to put the sad violin music in again. Every time you talk about the Celtics, you depress yourself.
They're going to. The core is pretty much going to be the same. I mean, nobody's gone.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, with that being said, the core is going to be the same. So, what makes me think that the core that couldn't even get out of the first round is going to somehow make it to the finals because they got Al Horford, who is a number 2 option at best.
Yeah.
I'm happy with the signing. I'm happy that somebody actually finally came to Boston. That's huge, really. But I don't think it puts us over the top. But with all that being said, y'all, I'm gonna let Griffin close it out. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. He's gonna go a couple more minutes. Just like I said, I hope y'all enjoyed it. Y'all be good. Hopefully we're recording here in the next couple of days. This should be up within the next couple of days as well. With all that, y'all, adios. Enjoy listening to Griffin.
Actually, can I ask you a question before you adios?
Yeah.
So it's probably the answer's changed now that the Cavs won last year. But say I asked you this question a year ago from today. Would you rather the LeBron-led Cavs win a championship, or would you rather have your Boston Celtics win a championship? This is the true test of how big of a LeBron fanboy Hunter Gonzales is.
It would probably be LeBron, simply not, and I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that this upcoming year because
he already won.
Yeah, but I wanted for the whole storybook thing, for just his legacy. I wanted him to get a victory, and honestly, I'm pulling for him to get another 1 or 2 just so that I can finally not be alone in me saying that LeBron is the greatest of all time.
You're not. You're not.
And I want it to be just like kind of
unanimous,
final and set in stone. Yeah,
it'll never be unanimous, but I get what you're saying.
I'm pulling for him to win, but of course the Celtics. But I'm also not. I'm also not a naive Celtics fan thinking that they have a shot, because they don't. They just don't. It would be like saying, oh, the Jazz made a couple moves getting Joe Johnson and George Hill, so they have a shot against the Warriors. No.
They do. Now with Boris Diaw, they do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Boris Diaw, he sends them over the top. But
so let's talk about it then.
Proudly introduce to you our 2015-2016 Utah Jazz.
And there is nothing more basic, and yet nothing executed any closer to perfection than the Utah Jazz pick and roll.
Back in the clock. Kyle Malone screen. Stockton to Malone to the hoop. Hammered up.
So we discussed the George Hill. Was it last episode? Yeah, I think it was.
Yep.
I think last episode we discussed the George Hill move, which I am still psyched about. I think it's just a fantastic move for them. Then they signed Joe Johnson, 35-year-old Joe Johnson, but still Joe Johnson, at a 2-year, $22 million contract. I think that's a good addition. That's going to take some of the scoring and ball handling load off of Hayward and Hood. So I definitely think that's a good move. Well, exactly like you said, it's not going to change the fortunes of the franchise. It's not going to pivot them into championship status by any means. But I do think it's a solid move. And then today, Hunter actually broke it to me that they picked up Boris Diaw, and I think they traded Oliver Hanlon. Is it Hunter?
Yep. It was a draft and stash that they drafted last year in the second round.
Yes, exactly. So I think that's a phenomenal move, and it was with the Spurs. Obviously, Diaw was with the Spurs, so Hanlon will probably turn into like a 6-time All-Star, and I'll be crushed about it. But at the moment, I'm excited. I think Diaw is kind of like a Swiss Army knife. He can do it all. He can handle the ball despite being a fat 6'9" guy. He can spread the floor a little bit. He's a great passer. So I think he's another guy that kind of just gives them more room to work with and gives them more options. They needed a shooting big. It's really funny that what I've been saying and what most knowledgeable Jazz fans have been saying that the team needs has come true, within a week of free agency. We said they needed a point guard. We said they needed veteran presence. We said they needed some wing depth. We said they needed a shooting big that's mobile. They got all three. Is it going to vault them into championship status? Once again, no, of course not. The Warriors, with Durant signing with the Warriors, they're pretty much cemented as they are cemented as the favorite. So just like Hunter, I'm a realist, and I have no illusions that the Jazz are going to be championship contenders. But I do think that they could possibly get to the 4th. I certainly think they can get to the 5th seed in the West. Let's look at that really quickly, just really briefly before we wrap it up. What do you think? What are your expectations of my beloved Jazz next year?
So the Mavs are going to be 8. The Grizzlies, I would say 6 or 7. You have the Clippers, you have the Spurs, you have the Warriors that are absolutely no doubt going to finish ahead of them. The Thunder are going to drop.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I could conceivably see them being 4 or 5. There's going to be the surprise team. I think a lot of people's picks going to be the Timberwolves.
I don't think they're ready unless they somehow get Butler.
I don't think they are. I don't think they are either. But people are going to use them as a sexy pick. People are going to go back to the
Blazers
Pelicans.
will be in there. Yeah. Pelicans are going to be bad again.
I could honestly see them get 4 or 5, and I don't even think that's a huge stretch.
And here's, it's obviously a superstar-driven league, and people obviously try to shoot the moon. Just look at Sam Hinkie, with the whole process. But the way that the Jazz have built, just building a really solid core and building a team around said core, I think is truly a great method because. Let's face it, there's no parity in the league.
Especially with the Durant.
Exactly. Only a couple teams are going to win championships. So you can't I think it's unreasonable to expect a championship from every franchise and try to move your team around to fulfill that need. So I think what you kind of have to do, especially when you're in a small market like Utah, is aim for that 4th or 5th seed and hope something breaks your way. I mean, look at the Thunder this year. It almost happened with them. It should have happened with them. They were up 3-1 because of a Curry injury, and they choked. That was not a team that was favored at all. Even the Cavs, everyone thought the Warriors were going to win, but a couple things broke their way, a couple injuries. You just got to put yourself in the mix and hope that something goes your way. But I will stop ranting. Let's wrap this thing up. Thank you guys so much for listening. This one was a little bit longer, but at the top of the episode, we kind of prefaced it by saying it's going to be kind of a fuller episode. I know the last couple were pretty short for you guys, so we wanted to get you some good content. We will be trying to in the future if Hunter is able to keep himself awake. He is a sloth-like man. I'm just kidding. He's an incredibly hard worker. Hey, Hunter, actually, I don't think we've ever directly mentioned it on the show, but my best friend Hunter is getting married to his wonderful fiancée Tatum in, 2.5 weeks now?
It is 20 days, and she actually just opened the door.
Wow, there she is.
I told her we were going to shout her out. I told her we were going to shout her out, but no, 20 days. And I was talking to her about this today. I'm flying Griffin in because he's the best man.
That's what I was going to say. Well, I was going to suggest, so we do have a YouTube channel. We actually need to probably put the episodes on there. I assume I'll be doing that as well because I'm the only one that does any work.
No, hey, come the 22nd when I can see this in front of me face to face, I will be doing it.
Okay, but yeah, I think we should do a special video podcast. Let us know if that's something you guys want to do. I'm sure you don't want to see Hunter's face, but I'm sure you'd love to see mine. So I think that's something we could do, and I just wanted to congratulate Hunter and Tatum on their upcoming marriage. It's very exciting stuff.
Hey, thank you so much, you guys. Any prayers, anything like that would be greatly appreciated. Y'all.
Prayers would be good, but ratings on iTunes would be even better.
Yeah, guys, that's what we really want. But hey, I hope y'all really enjoyed the episode. Just like Griffin said, it was a fuller episode, but with fuller comes better, and
that's what they say.
It's just, it's just better to listen to y'all. So I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna give y'all that nice adios, and realize y'all that I did not start the episode off today. I know y'all are probably happy with that.
I think you should have everyone. That was wonderful last time.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. We will talk to you guys soon. Take care.
Good.
Bye.